I can't do it fast enough.
Live from the back of your pickup truck. It's your daily dose of Squid Inky Biz Nuggets, joined as always by earth-shattering Emma Lurking and moody Matt Muscardi.
Oh.
I'm the generic brand of English muffins.
It's true.
Still tasty. Today in our gilded bag, it was gilded yesterday, of nuggets called December 15th, 2021.
Creativity.
Pledges, space, hypocrites, and things Free Float Media have and have not accomplished recently.
Oh, I like this. A wins and fails list for Free Float.
Let's do it.
For Free Float.
Hundreds of CEOs from firms like Best Buy, Lyft are signing Parody Pledge. Parody.org CEO Catherine Stickney is helping to change the face of America's corporate leadership by calling for public pledges on race and gender for leaders to advance diversity in leadership. The idea is simple. Get CEOs of major companies to sign a pledge to interview at least one woman for every executive position, and they've just added a person of color too. To date, over 600 companies have signed, including Ralph Lauren, Lyft, Best Buy, blah, blah, blah. 80% of companies that signed the pledge reported adding and retaining at least one woman to their executive team. And 46% of companies added at least one woman to each of their board of directors. This is what we're celebrating in 2021. We added a woman.
A woman. You did say
Josh,
right?
Josh James, the CEO of cloud software company Domo, is the co-founder of Parody.org and a fellow pledger. But there are only 3 women on Domo's executive team of 14. Is Josh James some kind of role model? I'm confused. But wait.
Yes.
Domo CEO and chairperson and founder Josh James controls 84% of his company's vote because his magical Class A shares he found nestled under a patch of mushroom-based leather on the bottom of Caring Canyon in Performative Pledge Forest give him 40 votes per share, Matt. 40 votes per share. So you see, miracles can come true.
Thank God for the Josh Jameses of the world. Parody's real and alive. Finally, we can all get a parody.
Moving on. Today, I am doing some quick hits from the wonderful world of the alternative democracy. It is not going well, just so you know. A UK-based nonprofit that focuses on ESG and activist investing is saying that asset managers aren't putting their vote where their mouth is when it comes to climate and diversity proposals.
What?
Crazy. Across 51 major asset managers, they have only increased their proportion of votes on these types of resolutions by 4% year to year.
Better than
4%. Isn't it? And here's a sentence I never thought I would say. I'd like to give a special shout out to BlackRock. I'm giving Larry Fink and company the shout out because they actually increased their proportion of votes by 28% from last year compared to the 4 on average.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing. According to Share Action, asset managers are more interested in voting for corporate disclosures rather than actionable policy. This Share Action report reveals that out of 89 social resolutions, 13 that were required disclosure received more than half the vote, while those targeting shaping corporate policies could barely eclipse 30%.
Aw. Well, speaking of alien concepts, 2 quick hits from outer space today.
Yes.
First, NASA touches the sun.
Oh, yeah, I read this.
This is real. This is real science, people. While Jeff Bezos spent somewhere between solving world hunger for a year and Tajikistan's GDP in money to send a circumcised space penis carrying a TV space captain into the lower orbit, NASA's Parker Solar Probe touched the sun's outer atmosphere in an attempt to measure, understand how the sun works, how to predict solar storms, and, science stuff for a paltry $1.5 billion, actually. So since we can't send anything to space that isn't either urological in shape or colorectal in name, the probe will make 25 trips into the sun's atmosphere, with this final trip coming closer to the sun than the moon is to the Earth on equivalency. This is real Crazy stuff. We are touching the sun,
1.5
folks.
billion? That seems cheap.
1.5 billion. In
it
fact,
sort of
the
does seem
entire budget of NASA costs 0.5% of the federal budget. So for every tax dollar, you are spending half a penny to touch the sun and what is perhaps the most important scientific discoveries of the 21st century. But speaking of space and touching, SpaceX touches its. In my second quick hit of the day.
This is how you got there? That's how you got there?
This is how I got there. You
All
like
right,
that?
Go ahead.
Not to be outdone by Jeff Bezos, whose female employees of Blue Origin penned an anonymous letter alleging toxic, sexist, gropey work environment back in September. SpaceX, Elon Musk's space penis company, had its own whistleblower, an ex-engineer who left Musk's version of Space Activision Blizzard. Ashley Kosak started as an intern, says she was, in no particular order, groped, stared at, propositioned, called at 4 a.m., touched, and I'm sure got a solid dose of rapey feeling on a daily basis.
Yeah, that sounds like that, yeah.
When she reported the issue, here is what her HR department said. It actually is my favorite HR response since Bobby Kotick. Quote, "Matters of this nature are too private to discuss with perpetrators." It's a little too private to talk about them touching your privates. Lest you think this issue is just a space bro or gamer problem, Musk's other company, Tesla, was also hit by 6 more sexual harassment claims in the same day.
Yeah.
In response to all of this, Elon Musk, not without a sense of humor, that guy, having released earlier this month something he called the, quote, cyber whistle. This is not a joke. It is a whistle to, quote, blow the whistle on Tesla that he sold on the Tesla website for $50. Sorry to say, $50 is all it took. Sorry to say, Cyber Whistle will likely not be in your holiday gift plans. It sold out in a matter of hours.
He sold it to his employees? Aren't they the
He
ones who need it?
sold the
Who's he
Cyber
selling it to?
Whistle publicly so that anybody who felt
who cares if
bad
Emma's
about
blowing it?
being gropey, his gropey environment,
Okay,
could
that's
blow
just
the Cyber Whistle.
The guy is such a troll. I'm so sick of.
It's wonderful.
No.
It's brilliant.
Speaking of whistleblowers, want to know who aren't? Asset managers. Again.
Okay. Weird
Ever
segue.
wanted to
Go
know
ahead.
which asset managers care more about money than human rights? Well, do I have some news for you. 2 major weapons manufacturers, Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman, had shareholder proposals on their proxy statement last year that would require the companies to conduct a report of the human rights impact of their business. Our lovely friends over at Share Action are back at it with some sweet data that goes as such. Turns out asset managers are not super interested in studying the human rights violations they fund.
What?
Shocking. If 11 of the asset managers invested in Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin had voted for the human rights report proposals, they would have passed. But how many actually voted for them? 2. Fidelity and State Street voted for on the Lockheed Martin proposal, and that's it. They both voted no on the Northrop Grumman proposal, along with BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan, and more. Maybe in Larry Fink's next CEO letter, he can human rights wash while he greenwashes. My parting words of this segment will be a pun. For a company that does so much washing, BlackRock isn't very clean. Haha.
Well, look, 2 is better than We're better than We're at 2.
And how dare you
is.
assume that a black rock can be cleaned, Emma? I don't like where you're going with that. Things we at Business Pants have decided to take 150% credit for. In other words, these things absolutely would not have happened without our persistent whining and badgering. Here we go. Number 1. Over 1,000 Microsoft employees shared their salaries in a leaked spreadsheet in a push for pay transparency. That's us.
Well, that's your favorite thing.
Number 2, Google workers who have not complied with vaccination rules by January will be placed on paid leave for 30 days. After that, they will be placed on unpaid personal leave for up to 6 months and then fired. That's us.
They got a long period to think that out.
Kroger to take away paid COVID benefits, add insurance surcharges for unvaccinated employees. You're welcome.
Wow.
Starbucks workers at 2 Boston cafes file for union election after win in Buffalo, New York. Yeah, that's right.
Spreading.
And according to the New York Times today, they're plugging some company, so I thought I'd throw it in here. Iconic is launching a Robinhood ripoff that will allow small shareholders to create their own shareholder activist campaigns. That's, basically us.
This is all us.
It's all
and
us.
by the way, 1,000 Microsoft employees is better than a Microsoft employee
Yeah.
making their salary.
Let's wrap up my depressing news bites with your daily dose of hypocrisy. Introducing your hypocrites du jour, literally all of Congress. While your wonderful American legislature was desperately trying to save your precious children from big bad tobacco, big bad tobacco was paying for the American legislature's retirement. Take one Frank Pallone, a Democrat from New Jersey who authored legislation banning flavored tobacco. While Frank was saying cute shit about the evils of big tobacco on the House floor, his wife was holding $15,000 worth of tobacco product manufacturer Philip Morris. What's particularly curious is that Philip Morris had recently gotten a non-flavored tobacco product cleared by the FDA. Sounds like a conflict of interest, Frank. Frank is joined by many of his fellow congresspeople in his role as tobacco double agent, including sponsors of tobacco bills and members that have gone as far as declaring a war on vaping. If this is the war we're waging against vaping, I think I might as well just start vaping. I submit. I'm done.
Well, it's only a war on vaping. It's not
Just
multiple
one.
wars. It's just
Actually,
a war.
I think you vaping during the show might get us some more viewers, Emma.
No, that is false. Nobody
Really?
cares.
Emma in a cloud of
Nobody's gonna
smoke?
watch this
I
ever.
think I'd like that. Let's wrap it up. Things we at Business Pants have decided to take 0% credit for. In other words, these things absolutely would not have happened if you made us co-CEO, and co-CEO of everything. All right, here we go. First, from the New York Times. I'm back making fun of the New York Times. Multi-day wedding celebrations packed with events are becoming more popular. No, it's a no.
No.
Second, on the same day that co-CEO Mark Benioff's Time magazine coronated Kimball Musk's brother, a video featuring teachers scrambling on their hands and knees for $5,000 in $1 bills to use on classroom supplies was trending on Twitter. The Dash for Cash stunt took place at a hockey game in South Dakota, a state where teacher pay ranks 50th in the nation.
Wow.
10 teachers competed in the dystopian event, stuffing their shirts with dollar bills, crawling away with between $376 and $616. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos celebrated by renewing the Squid Game for a second season and telling his boardroom that income inequality is officially sexier than Paul Rudd.
No.
Welcome to the
it's
5-time
not.
club, Paul Rudd. He's hosting us
The
today.
actual apology from the event admitted that, quote, we can see how it appears to be degrading and insulting towards the participating teachers and the teaching profession as a whole, unquote. Now let's find a pledge for them to sign.
Oh, well, at least it was 10 teachers competing and not a teacher competing. That was Business Pants. That's Emma Lurking and Damian Rollis, and I am Matt Muscardi. We are Free Flow Media. If you like this, then get our podcast on Apple and Spotify and Overcast and all those places. You can watch us on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and all those places. Or you can get a dose of this every day. Not multiple doses, a dose every single day. We'll be back at you tomorrow with more Daily Nuggets.